expected to make economic impact on the global stage as the economic growth of the BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, starts to wane. Nigerian foreign exchange reserve is over 47 billion US dollars, and our international economy rate is BB. The middle class is growing, and debt to GDP ratio is a modest 19%. The debt to GDP of the US is over 100%. While the infrastructure development of Nigeria is moving apace. Now classified as a middle-income country, Nigeria, as the second biggest economy in Africa, is expected to overtake the South African economy, currently the biggest in on the continent, in a decade. Power, a pivotal infrastructure, is being privatized with the unbundling of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria into 15 companies in order to provide adequate electricity for socio-economic development. The transformation agenda of the federal government is moving forward. Government has completed the construction of 32 major roads and awarded contracts for some other artery roads and bridges, including the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and the second Niger Bridge. The railway sector, which has been in the doldrums for years, is being revitalized, and accordingly, the Lagos-Kano line and others are now up and running, while construction and renovation are underway on the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri line, Abuja-Kaduna line, and others. The renovation of 11 airport terminals are also in progress as part of the renovation of phase 1 of the 22 airports earmarked, with a view to providing our airport with befitting facilities. The Enugu airport has already been upgraded to international standard, and international flights have already commenced. Despite the heavy flood last year, agricultural production is making remarkable strides. The cassava bread is a reality. Cassava pellets are now being exported to China, and local rice production is over 1 billion metric tons, with a view to reducing the 11 billion food import bill of the country. Sharp practices in fertile distribution is now a thing of the fertilizer distribution is now a thing of the past, with the introduction of the electronic wallet system for direct distribution of the product to genuine farmers, while dedicated funds have been established to grant concessionary credit for agricultural development as a business. The telecom and the ICT sectors in Nigeria are some of the fastest growing sectors in the world, with the number of mobile phone owners in Nigeria surpassing 80 million, while internet users are expected to grow from 33 million to 70 million by 2015. Even recent measures taken to address the security situation is yielding positive results. Ladies and gentlemen, in spite of all these efforts by government, challenges still remain, but government is conducted. And this is where you come in, because as Nigerians, no investor can be more passionate than you. On this note, the government has mapped out areas of investment, and you and I can play a part. This includes, but not limited to, agriculture, with the intent of moving from subsistence agriculture to agriculture as a business. With housing deficit of nearly 17 million, the real estate sector presents huge investment opportunities with encouraging returns on investment. The healthcare sector is another area for the establishment of high-end tertiary health facilities to put limit to the inappropriate desire of our people availing themselves of healthcare facilities policies. Infrastructural development under private through public sector partnership presents itself as a huge, highly attractive sector for investors to grasp, being overseen by the Infrastructural Regulation Commission. The power sector, again, is another vast area of untapped opportunities, despite the strides being made on privatization and the ongoing payment of the terminal benefits of staff of the PHCN, for which the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Power, will address tomorrow. It's not yet here, yes, we are still expecting. The Federal Capital Secretary has recently been campaigning for a scheme they call land swap, for an arrangement between the territory and the private sector investors for development of houses in the Federal Capital Territory. It also has the Centenary City for development. There is also the Diaspora Fund being conceptualized by the federal government to enable diasporans buying bonds to be floated by the federal government. Related to this is the trading in Nigerian stock as one of the most profitable in Africa. There is a lot more on areas of investment in Nigeria, and the incentives include, but not limited to, one, liberal allocation of land to investors for agricultural development through partnership or on long-term leases by various state governments. Revamping the irrigation system of over 100 small and large-scale dams and over 12 river basin authorities of various water bodies in the country. Creating a local market for products such as cassava, rice, and other products in order to encourage production. Transferring the responsibility of fertilizer availability to the private sector from the government sector, and the provision of 50% subsidy by government on seedling and fertilizer. Distribution of hybrid seedlings and facilitation of local exports to market for agricultural products. Corporate tax rebates. Prohibition of importation of some related products, such as cassava, flour. 0% on imported agricultural equipment for targeted products. A small liberal fiscal regime with the availability of over 450 billion or over $3 billion for the agricultural sector. Ease in the provision of credit for agriculture and tax relief. Grant of pioneer status, tax holidays for 7 years period, tax relief for R&D, capital allowance of up to 75% in a year, in-plant training or 2% tax concession for a period of 5 years, investment in infrastructure, 20% expenses is tax deductible, investment in economically disadvantaged area, 100% tax holiday for 7 years, and 5% capital depreciation allowance. Labor-intensive mode of production that attracts tax deduction. Local value-added 10% concession for 5 years. Minimum local raw material utilization tax credit of 20% is granted for 5 years. Provision of export expansion grants. Manufacturer export inbound scheme, and one-stop investment center. Another area of this conference relates to the healthcare sector in Nigeria, for which we desire to raise funds as contributions to the socio-economic development of our poor and inadequate healthcare infrastructure and facilities, resulting in low life expectancy and compelling many of Nigerians to avail themselves of medical treatment overseas. For this and other reasons, please join me to contribute our little quota to reverse the situation by raising funds for a high-end first-class diaspora trauma center which we expect to put in Nigeria. It is worthy of our endeavor, and it is my hope that you will identify with this by donating generously. Be assured that every kobo, every naira you contribute will be scrupulously recognized and account duly rendered to all stakeholders. I therefore urge you, ladies and gentlemen, and all present here today, to have a deep consideration of the three issues I have humbly presented before you, to wit, investment in Nigeria and funds for a trauma center.